What if I told you that a Chinese SUV is starting to keep brands like Toyota and Honda up at night? Sounds like an exaggeration, but that's exactly what's happening with the Haval H6 HEV. We're not talking about a cheap car that only stands out for its price. This is an SUV that shows up with so much confidence it's basically saying, step aside, I'm here to play in the big leagues too. The real question is, does it have what it takes to pull it off, or is it just hype wrapped in good marketing? Stick around, because what you're about to learn about this Haval might surprise you more than you think. But before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. We're getting closer to reaching our goal of 1,000 subscribers, and you have no idea how happy you'd make us by supporting us. Now, let's get started.
The Haval H6 HEV is one of those SUVs that, when you see it head-on, doesn't feel shy at all. It measures 4.6 meters long, 1.8 meters wide, and 1.7 meters tall, placing it right in the heart of the mid-size SUV segment. That means it's not so big that you feel like you're driving a bus, but not so small that it disappears in a parking lot full of trucks. The design is bold, with a massive front grille that basically says, "Here I am," paired with slim headlights that give it a modern and aggressive look. The side lines are sharp, and what's interesting is that even though this is a Chinese SUV, it doesn't overuse chrome or unnecessary decorations. It's elegant, but it has character. At the back, the full-width connected taillights add even more presence. And with wheels up to 19 inches, it feels well planted on the ground. It's definitely an SUV that grabs attention, but in a way that's different from traditional Japanese models, which usually go for something more understated. What's interesting is that the H6 doesn't try to be a copy of anyone. It has its own personality, and while some criticize it for being too bold, the truth is that on the road it achieves something many cars wish for: being noticed. And of course, looking good on the outside isn't enough. The real question is what it's hiding under the hood.
What really starts making the competition nervous is what's under the hood. The Haval H6 HEV combines a 1.5-liter turbocharged gasoline engine with an electric motor, and together they deliver 243 horsepower and 530 Nm of torque. Yes, you read that right, 530 Nm. To put it into context, that's more than many Japanese SUVs with much larger engines. That combination gives it a surprisingly smooth performance. It doesn't feel heavy or slow when taking off. On the contrary, the push from the electric motor gives you instant response right from the start. In the city it's ideal, because it accelerates smoothly and effortlessly, and on the highway it gives you the confidence to overtake without feeling like the engine is struggling. The 2-speed automatic transmission works hand in hand with a hybrid system, and even though it may sound unusual, it's exactly what helps avoid those odd sensations you often get with CVT hybrids. Here, the start feels more natural, more linear, and even fun to drive. As for fuel consumption, the H6 HEV can reach around 18 kilometers per liter in mixed conditions, which for an SUV of this size is actually pretty good. In other words, you don't just get plenty of power, you also save on fuel. And in times when filling up the tank hurts more than a trip to the dentist, that's something you really appreciate. The best part? You don't need to be an expert to notice that this SUV drives with more energy than several of its traditional rivals. Put simply, it runs faster than your neighbor who swears he's only having one beer and ends up closing the bar. And of course, after turning it on and stepping on the accelerator, the next question is, will it be just as convincing on the inside as it is to drive?
If on the outside the Haval H6 HEV wants to grab your attention, on the inside it's trying to convince you to stay. The first thing you notice when opening the door is that it doesn't feel like a Chinese SUV from a few years ago. This is a huge leap in quality. The materials feel good to the touch, with soft plastics and aluminum look details that don't try to fool anyone, but do give off a modern vibe. Base is generous. With its 2.7-meter wheelbase, the cabin offers real comfort for 5 adults. Even in the second row, there's enough room for your legs to move freely, and the headroom prevents that cramped feeling. It's an SUV designed for families, friends, or simply for anyone who wants to feel free inside the cabin. The dashboard is dominated by a 12-inch central screen floating in the middle, accompanied by a digital instrument cluster that makes everything look futuristic. And no, it's not one of those screens that only exist to show off. Here it's functional, with clear menus and quick response. The seats, depending on the version, can come in synthetic leather with electric adjustments and ventilation, which is a blessing on hot days. The feeling when you sit down is closer to that of a European SUV than to that of an economy model. In short, inside the H6 HEV not only delivers, it surprises. And once you're comfortable, comes what excites many the most: the technology that makes it feel like an SUV from the future.
If there's one area where the Haval H6 HEV really wants to show off, it's technology. The 12-inch central screen isn't just big, it's fast. The menus respond quickly, the resolution is sharp, and the interface is simple enough that you won't end up fighting with it. On top of that, you get a digital instrument cluster that changes design depending on the driving mode. And it's not just for show. It gives you information about the hybrid system, real-time fuel consumption, and even how energy is being delivered between the gasoline engine and the electric motor. It's like having a little engineer explaining what's happening under the hood, but without the confusing jargon. Connectivity is also well covered. You get wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay support, something that even more expensive brands don't always include in every version. Plus, the voice control system lets you give simple commands like adjusting the air conditioning or playing music without lifting a finger. A neat detail is that it even offers remote software updates, something that just a few years ago we only saw in Tesla. That means the SUV can actually get better over time without spending hours at the dealership. In short, the H6 HEV doesn't just feel modern when you drive it, it feels modern when you interact with it. And of course, all this technology wouldn't mean much if it didn't come with something essential: safety.
Safety is where the Haval H6 HEV proves it's not just pretending to be a modern SUV. It really is one. Even in the base versions, it comes with disc brakes on all four wheels with ABS stability control, and up to 7 airbags. No nonsense about selling airbags as an optional accessory. But what truly puts it in the same conversation as Japanese and European brands is the package of advanced driver assistance systems. We're talking about autonomous emergency braking with pedestrian detection, adaptive cruise control that adjusts your speed without you constantly stepping on the brake, and lane keeping assist that gently corrects you if you start drifting. On top of that, you get blind spot monitoring, rear cross traffic alert, and 360-degree cameras that make parking in a tight spot feel almost like playing a video game. And here's the surprise. While some competitors charge extra for these systems, Haval includes them as part of a standard package in several versions. It's a smart move because it gives the impression that they actually care about occupant safety, not just about inflating the options list. In short, the H6 HEV doesn't just want to be seen as a flashy and tech-packed SUV. It also wants to give you the confidence that you and your family will be protected in any situation. And of course, all this safety wouldn't matter if the price wasn't competitive. So let's talk numbers.
And now we get to the part that most people care about: the price. Because of course, having bold design, strong performance, futuristic technology, and full safety features doesn't mean much if the price tag leaves you broke. The Haval H6 HEV starts at around $17,000 in Asian markets, making it one of the most affordable hybrid options in its category. When you compare it to rivals like the Toyota RAV4 hybrid or the Honda CR-V hybrid, which easily go over $30,000, the difference is so big it feels like you're looking at prices from two different planets. In America, the story changes a bit, because taxes and tariffs usually push the price higher. In countries like Mexico and the United States, it's expected to range between $28,000 and $32,000, which is still competitive considering the level of equipment it offers as standard. In Europe, prices are also higher, but even then the proposal is tempting compared to traditional brands, especially for those who want a modern SUV without spending a fortune. In short, the Haval H6 HEV plays hard on price. It gives you more for less, and that's exactly what's starting to make the big players uncomfortable, because now we're no longer just talking about a cheap Chinese SUV. We're talking about a hybrid SUV that can actually stand up to the benchmarks. And of course, after analyzing everything, the final question remains, is it really worth betting on it?
After everything we've seen, the Haval H6 HEV makes it clear that it's not an experiment or a passing trend. It's an SUV that combines bold design, hybrid power, top-level technology, full safety features, and a price that makes the big players uncomfortable. And believe me, that's no small thing. Is it perfect? No. It still carries the prejudice of being a Chinese SUV, and for many, trusting it with their wallet won't be easy. But if we're talking about what it actually brings to the table, it's a serious competitor that's already proving the giants can't sleep easy anymore. Now I want to hear your opinion. Would you dare to give the Haval H6 HEV a chance, or would you stick with the traditional brands? Drop it in the comments. I'm sure it'll spark a debate. And you already know, if you enjoyed this review, subscribe to the channel, leave a like, and share it with that friend who's looking for a new SUV. You can also join our WhatsApp channel by scanning the QR code on screen or using the link in the description so you don't miss any updates. And before you go, don't forget to check out one of the videos appearing on screen right now. I'm sure you'll find them just as interesting as this one.